Hello, everybody. Welcome to Weekly Market News. Today is Monday, 15th of February, and we are ready to kick off a new week with slightly lower volumes from US as there is a president date. So banks will be closed, and we can expect much lower volatility and liquidity at the stock market in US and also some US dollar currency pairs. But let's look at the week we just had experienced, and which was a very calm week. Was a week where traders could not really decide whether to go up or down. There was obvious correction. Obvious correction in focus as we managed to close about 6 or 7 sessions in green in positive territory. So the correction was something that most of the investors expected, but instead markets went sideways for most of the last week. Expect Friday. By the end of the session, we experienced some rise towards new record highs on S&P 500, Nasdaq, Dow Jones, maybe even European DAX was able to close a little bit higher, not on the record highs though, but if you look at the trend line here, we were able to break the trend line and close above. So quite a positive sentiment on the markets towards the end of the last week. As we are beginning the new week, we are mostly working with news from the weekend and from the end of the last week, which was some talks about the fiscal stimulus, which is still in works, but Senate should pass it through as soon as possible. So the expectations for economic recovery is surging pretty quickly, as well as there were news from Joe Biden and his statement, and Joe Biden administrative that were able to secure the deal with Moderna and Pfizer for another approximately 200 million doses of vaccine, which gives us total about 600 million doses. So the supply should secure United States dosage for the entire population till the end of July. So the vaccination process is going pretty quickly, and obviously this helps with the expectation of faster economic recovery in the US. So no correction here. We will see how far we can go with this kind of rally. Like I said, we will see. We were able to break this triangle, break above, rise towards new record highs today. Even with the lower volumes from US, we are going higher. So this can help. Look at the markets in a quite wider perspective. We are still waiting here, or me personally, for this level, 38.44, where there's obvious accumulation of some volumes which were accumulated before there was a huge uptrend ahead. So I'm still waiting for this, as well as this area of triangle, which is quite interesting from various stands of point, as well as there is the kind of a middle value area, most volumes for the week, and we were able to bounce from this volume. So once we are going back towards these levels, we can expect some activity from buyers. So hopefully we will be able to see that this week. Perhaps not. Perhaps the markets will keep going higher and higher. So we will have to wait and see how this one plays out. So this is something about markets. Obviously, the earnings season is right now finishing. We can look at the earnings, what we can expect this week. But the big companies like Apple, Facebook, Amazon, Google, even Disney reported last week. So there should not be any huge companies So let's look at what we have this week. We have on Monday, not really anything interesting. Tuesday, CVS Health, a retail company. We have Shopify on Wednesday. This could be interesting. Garmin, nothing really that could rattle the sentiment on stock indices. We have Walmart on Thursday though. Dropbox, interesting names, but not really mega cap companies. So nothing really crazy that could affect the market in even in the short term. So we do not expect any huge names to report this week. So that's the situation on stock markets and stock indices. Obviously, DAX and European indices are much more volatile. Interesting session last week was on Forex, as US dollar since the beginning of last week was ready to lose another ground, and you obviously helped different currencies against US dollar as well as Euro, British Pound, Canadian dollar to get some gains. You can see interesting situation here on EURUSD, as last week we broke many very strong resistance. We were able to close above 121. There was some few days of consolidation. On Friday we tested 121 from the other side, and right now we are going towards new highs. So obviously a next target for EURUSD is 122. 122, interesting level of resistance, but obviously, to be honest, I'm not really expecting some bounce here from this area. Even on EURUSD, I would expect this week some sideways price action, as the volatility at the beginning of this month was quite big. So I wouldn't be surprised if we go sideways, maybe a little bit higher, probably break the highs from last week, and go a little bit sideways, maybe not even test the 122. So we will have to see how this one plays out. Extremely positive sentiment stays with the British pound. With the British pound, you can see that we were not able to test those levels. This is a very important area of support now. It was a resistance, huge resistance. We tested it multiple times. It was a multi-month high. Then we went to the highest since the I'm sorry, I don't want to do this. We went to the highest since something like April 2018. Then we retreated a little bit. We tested these levels, so we were not able to go all the way towards this area, which is very interesting. So again, we bounced from there, rise towards the new highs, and right now we are testing the highest level since March, April 2018. So extremely positive sentiment on British pound, kind of stays with it. As we are heading into the new week, I'm not really sure what to expect from British pound, as the volatility and the rise was quite steep here last week. I would expect probably the same thing like on EURUSD, but this is the market that is a little bit different. It's a little bit different in many areas, and fundamentally, it does not really make sense to rise any further. But the thing is that it keeps rising, so maybe the economic expectations are quite better in Britain and in the whole UK, as the vaccination moves forward much faster than in Europe. So this might be the factor here. We'll see what kind of resistance supports we will test. Maybe this area 138.67 can do something. We'll see. You know, I'm very positive. Right now we are on 138, 139. So obviously very strong resistance. Quite nice number. So We'll see how we test this level. If we go towards this level 138.67, maybe we can test its bounce back and keep rising forward. It can be like this nice ABCD and keep going up. So positive sentiment, kind of stay with the market. USDCAD, like I said last week, again, fairly a little bit more positive for Canadian dollar, but we're kind of testing, you know, multiple month lows on USDCAD. Canadian dollar is extremely strong, pushed towards the higher levels with the situation that is right now happening on oil, where oil WTI is rising towards $60 a barrel. We can look at this market next, but yeah, Canadian dollar positive, but mainly thanks to the situation that is happening on US dollar, not really on Canadian dollar, as we had the numbers of unemployment from Canada, and they were going pretty bad. Unemployment rate risen quite rapidly, so not really positive sentiment if you look at the front of macroeconomic news from Canadian economy. USD JPY is not really interesting those days. You know, it's, again, you know, mostly in the direction of US dollar. Not really anything going on from the Japanese yen and the Japanese economic front. And obviously, gold was again quite interesting last week as weakening US dollar helped gold to bounce from 1800. I'm still expecting to test the 1800 maybe this week. Again, the volatility since the beginning of the month is quite high, so we wouldn't be surprised if the levels of 1800 would not be tested this week. Maybe next week. Maybe we can see some sideways price action. We'll see how this one plays out. But me personally, short, medium term, long term, I expect that we're gonna test this level 1800, and we're gonna stay, most importantly, in this downtrend channel. So this is kind of the expectation. Did not really change since the last week, and yeah, the market is moving still towards the lower levels. So that's pretty much nothing has changed, like I said. Last but not least, obviously, crude oil and crude oil WTI. Very interesting end of the last week, as we were kind of expecting. I was expecting, and I think everybody else was expecting, that the price action is going to look pretty similar to this one, where we were able to see steep rise of oil and then a sideways price action. You can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Seven straight winning, 7-day winning streak for oil. I was expecting the same thing to happen, so going sideways for at least a week did not happen, because the tension in Middle East, as the Saudi Arabia coalition led some fighting in Yemen, and as well as some supply disruption expectation in the US, as the Arctic winter is rattling the supply. So maybe we will not have as much supply as we kind of expected last week. So that's something fundamentally that is affecting the market as right now. And obviously oil is surging towards the $60 a barrel. But if you look at the long-term chart, you can see that the price is somewhere above the value area of the whole year 2019, which is quite strange in the middle of a huge demand disruption around the world, as the I don't know, the airline sector is not doing very well. Other sectors are not doing very well. Several industries are under pressure, and the demand for oil is not as big. But like I said, the supply is right now talking big, and is probably gonna have something to say even in the coming weeks. So again, something pretty similar to these stock markets. We can expect correction. I would not be surprised if we go even to 55 from 60, but more likely maybe sideways price action. We will see maybe the correction towards the previous sideways price action. If I can change it here, the sideways price action that was here last week, maybe towards this, maybe even test these levels, maybe even test these levels and go maybe a little bit higher. But I'm not really a big fan of this, so I would expect something about price action 60, 55, something like that would be appropriate for the current fundamentals on the market. So that would be it from the market side of this video. Let's look at the macroeconomic calendar. Like I said, today, presidential day in the US, so not really huge volumes to be expected from US. On Tuesday, we have some employment data from Eurozone, as well as the ZEP economic sentiment indicator from Germany. So something interesting for traders who watch DAX and other indices, European ones. And Wednesday, what we expect from the CPI, so inflation data from UK, inflation data from Canada, retail sales from US, FOMC minutes, so this will be interesting on Wednesday. Retail inventories, primarily just secondary data from US. On Thursday, we have employment data from Australia, monetary meeting accounts. So again, the minutes from ECB meeting last month, building permits, so housing data from US, jobless claims obviously from US, and on Friday, retail sales from UK, retail sales from Canada, another housing data from United States, and the rest of the week should not really affect the market. So we will see. Not really interesting, not much of an interesting week for the markets ahead, but let's see what the markets will show us and what opportunities we will be able to find. So this will be it for today's video. If you have any questions you'd like to ask, please leave it down the video on the YouTube, and I will see you next week.